overclockers, and welcome. Oh, screw this. Where's EPIC when you need him?
And welcome back. It is another BO3 on the hand at EPIC38, powered by Intel. My name is Winteria, also known as Summer. And again, it does seem like we're always together, isn't it? I am joined on the bike by Rogue, my fellow co-caster for today. We have a great game for you now.
An absolutely stellar one, the upper bracket finals between Next in Line, versus Control Esports.
Yeah, and Control Esports is something that we personally have been casting majority of the games that have been on stream. I think every single one of the games that have been on stream we've casted. So we have kind of a good background on what we can expect from this team, especially at this event in particular. But anything from Next in Line, we've seen it casted by Cairo and Hazard before us. So we're going to be looking at anything that we can pick up there as well. But as we're waiting for bans to get through, what were you expecting sort of from these two teams and them facing?
Well, actually, they have played against each other, and it was on stream. It's the one Control game that we didn't cast,
yeah, it was Cairo and Hazard, wasn't it?
So they were on that one. It was an absolutely fantastic game, really close up until later in the game, unfortunately. Right after a tech pause, it seems like Control got their heads in the game. They reset themselves, and then they really came alive, and we've seen that from them before. It's not a surprise to see, but I mean, Control have really been on a tear. Next in Line have been fantastic. I mean, this is a very strange situation to kind of find ourselves on in. I think Next in Line were 5th seed, I want to say, or lower, maybe even 7th.
I thought it was towards the 5th or 6th mark, but possibly even then, even if they were that lower seed, they have definitely shown
That's what I'm saying. They've really delivered.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen a close game between them before, but let's have a quick look at the bracket to see how these teams actually got to this position in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, you could see Next in Line took down Cognizant and Jokers to make it this far in the bracket. An absolutely fantastic run. I think that's some very strong teams there, whereas obviously Control Esports took down John Howard. And as you may have seen if you were watching earlier, also took down Insight Gaming 2-0. Neither of these teams dropping a game or a map in the elimination stage so far, but both of them having dropped maps in the groups, still managing to show. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, they've just really stepped up their game and shown why they deserve to be here in the upper bracket finals.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, we have said this upper bracket finals. These teams have secured at least 3rd place in this competition. Definitely walking away with a good sum of beacon points for their team, but also having that chance now. It is the upper finals. They're playing for that place on stage. But if they're going to be playing, let's see what maps that they're going to be playing on. Let's get those map bans and vetoes up nice and quickly. It is a best of 3, so we are going to be seeing Haven, Fracture, and oh my god, I want this to be a 3rd map series. I know we do love a Swift to a lovely competitive Valorant there, but a 3-map series? Can we like write that into the script somewhere, guys? That we can get this to the 3rd map so we can see Lotus?
Yeah, I would be absolutely ecstatic to see Lotus here on the map, but here in our actual game feed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there has been a couple of a game or two around, but I don't think there's been a Lotus map yet on stream. I'm super excited to see this map in actual competitive play. Not really seen all too much of it myself, other than some of the stuff at lock-in. But you know, it's great to see it at different kind of levels of play. I'm not going to lie to the people; we're not quite at that level, but it's still definitely going to be super interesting. I think, especially with these teams, how aggressive and dynamic they can be. That's a map that looks super interesting to me.
Yeah, and we've seen, at least in the vetoes, we've seen Control play against John Howard on it. The best of 3 on the first round of this upper bracket. But it is the upper bracket finals. We do want to start this game as soon as possible. So we do normally say cast to start the game, but we are the casters now. So let us start the game for you now. Let's get into Haven.
Press the button.
You press the button and look at that. The game is starting. As long as that stinger is going to come through now, there we go.
Yeah, going to be some pretty standard lock-ins from at least some of these players. The Cypher coming out, I'm so excited to see that from Jaiku. That's an absolutely fantastic pick for that player, and I'm definitely down to see it here on Haven. It's going to make for an interesting one, whereas we kind of have that contrast in the Killjoy, which is more meta at the moment for Daki, who has been absolutely stellar this tournament. I think definitely a player to highlight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely one to keep your eye on, but we do have MJT on the role of Smokes. We do normally see your the flex of JKG on the reveal Smokes, or with Sid the IGL playing Astra some of those games as well, but it's nice to see what they have up cooking in the control oven for the side of MJT on that Omen.
Yeah, I think the Omen as well is fantastic here. We have seen a little bit of Brim. It was strange to see it earlier, but obviously the ability to kind of cycle through those pieces of utility again and again and again and kind of regenerate them, I think is a really strong part of Omen on this map when you can play a slightly slower style. I, however, am absolutely here for Rudy playing Astra, one of the better Astra players in this tournament. And I think on this map, because you can kind of use it like a Swiss Army knife of controller utility, it's absolutely fantastic.
I do want to make sure next in line are aware of the fact that there's a limited amount of stars and limited amount of capability. Yes, you said they have multiple roles. You have that gravity well to be able to suck players into certain positions, get them off the bomb tap and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But also, you need those for smoke. So if you are going for retakes, especially since they are starting on this attack inside, they need to make sure that they have enough to slow down the retakes, being able to recycle that utility similar how MJT would on that Omen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think prudent play is the name of the game from both of these teams. We know they can be aggressive, we know they can be dynamic, but the real question is, can they be sensible enough to not throw away some of these rounds? And this is a worry I have for Control. Great team, really strong in a lot of ways, but they have been known to slip up and give a couple of opportunities to next in line, and you'll be the one behind them in the queue.
Yeah, absolutely. They are the next in line. They do want to be taking this into the stage finals, possibly even re-meeting these two on stage. But for now, they are going to be competing for a place, a seat on that stage.
Yeah, they absolutely are. I think it's going to be interesting to see who exactly is going to make it there. A lot of people talking about Insight, but I think these two teams are absolutely par for the course. Sid is looking for a chance to catch someone there, but they hadn't moved through the smokes just yet, and they back off. Control Esports putting a lot of pressure in, and next in line, not falling for the hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, not much space now gathered by them. They only really have any sort of indents in mid. You have two of these Control players stacking towards the B site. Sid taking first contact. You're down to 10 HP. The shock dart and the guns of Zico coming in there, but low HP on the remaining players.
Yeah, Zico's managed to slip into backside. Marky does actually manage to stop Pika for a little while, but they don't deny the plant. And Marky gets caught as they come on in. Zico delivering on that jet, took the space, used it effectively as a duelist, and it's just Daki versus the world. But we've seen clutches like this before. Unfortunately, it isn't enough. And a 4K for Zico to kick things off. Oh, that's a nice way to start for next in line.
Yeah, it's an absolutely great way to start. Well, get your duelist already confident, already hitting those headshots, and there we go, 4-0. What I do want to pull attention to is Rudy's actually switching to Smokes and IGL at this land. It's his first time in this role within this team. We saw him previously here with K10 at the last one, and now is really coming into his own, especially in next in line, and has been showing up for his team in regards to the role changes, and also, the pressure is his first LAN on Smokes, yellow and IGLing as well.
Yeah, it's always hard when it's your first time at LAN. I mean, that's always a big challenge because you can do it as well as you want online in the comfort of your own home, sitting in your nice gamer chair. Not everyone brought their gamer chairs here today, and don't forget, if you want, you can use Noble Chairs on one of our sponsors for today, and you can go to Overclockers to buy it as well, so that's a nice way to tick up on that one. But it's about being comfortable in your team and how you're organized together. And right now, I like the fact that next in line are looking for a more default. They're trying to peek out, get a bit of information. But they're kind of going to see that Control, they're all holed up on that A site, and there's not really much else to find.
Yeah, it is a gamble stack going for the side of Control, which they have these lesser weapons. They have a few Sheriffs and a few Classics. You're not really going to do much, especially on a map like Haven, if, they do full exec site and you have one or two players playing there just to try and even out the defensive line. So putting that stack there is great, and it also means that they can move as a pack now when they're going for this retake. They do have this really nice open plant, and it really just allows majority of the next in line players, if too much pressure comes on in the retake from CT, they can just leave and play for the spam point along with the breach concuss that they do have, along with Sova shock darts, gravity well as well.
Yeah, Marky tries to go deep but gets caught off guard. Zeko continuing to deliver here, as it is just now 2 players moving on in. Tries to land the shot. Can JKG get a thing? Not a scratch on next in line, apart from obviously on Jacko.
Yeah, and that's only going to be a little bit of armor rebuilt and a few bits of util as well. But it's all looking good. All looking good in the house of next in line. They do have quite a good buy-ish coming into this. They do have a rifle. You have that Guardian and a Spectre. Sheriffs on the remaining 2 players. But do you know what's also available in the 3rd round? You have Zico's Bladestorm. So already he's gone in 7-0. Already picking up every single point or point that he needs to get this online in the 3rd round, and it is going to be pivotal for this round. This is their win condition to convert their bonus.
Yep. Takes out those knives. Is going to be used that for their kind of chance to lead the team forward. Obviously, trying to make sure they have control of that B site, bringing up one of those question marks for Control Esports. You leave that mid control alone for too long, it's going to be a real problem for you. It's one of those kind of big things that needs to be contested, and with Zeko leading the charge, they could easily burst onto this B site as well. You can see that there's utility down, but obviously they don't know that just yet. Nanoswarm could deny that push. Zeko's trying to make it happen. You see the utility start to get bursted, but they're running out of knives. Unless Zeko gets a headshot here, they're going to be significantly out of that firepower. But MJT gets caught, and this is such a big mistake. They're going to be able to upgrade, and Zeko doesn't have that problem anymore. They can just march on into this site. No one's really contesting. Util is not there in the nick of time, and Daki is just completely taken off that cloud burst, doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, and there you go, that reveal there. So the information is going to be gathered for the players that are still remaining on site, or those who have retreated down C-Long, possibly going for this late garage flank. But the shots coming in, JKG now on site, that Guardian in hand, doing as much damage as he can. But look at this, it's all down to a 1v3 for Sid, collecting the first one. Now there's only 3 left to do. Tripwire on the spike. He's still paranoid that there's someone backside. There's 2 bullets in his gun.
Yeah, we'll not be able to deal with this situation. I think very sensibly Sid now looking for a way out of this, maybe save the rifle, but alas, just there's so little available to them and the rest of their team because they got caught on that cross, and on that cross as well. It's kind of just showing how Next in Line are taking control of this one and using the spaces they have on the site in order to really box people off. Look at this here. Now, they didn't have much of a weapon. They upgraded Zeko on, but Pika was the player who managed to come out, spray some players down with a Spectre because their aim was somewhere else.
Absolutely, and that's what it is, especially when you're going in this with maybe lesser buys compared to that of your opposition. You need to distract them, and it works on rifle rounds as well. If they're not looking at you, they can't shoot back. And luckily for the side of Next in Line, they teammates and players there to support them in this endeavor. But look at this fast push down mid. Really aggressive push from the side of Control Esports. Marky really getting util dumped here, although back in safety now.
Yeah, I think honestly that's perfectly fine for Marky as long as he makes it out of here alive. Just barely. Look at that sliver of health. But it's Sid who falls. And again, it seems like Zeko is able to just make these opportunities and blow things wide open for their team. While all of that fiasco was going down towards mid, well, unfortunately, Sid was just way too far up and got caught.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the play that they had this more of an eco round. They had some sheriffs down, and getting that breach into that position is great if you can keep your jet alive and really flash stun for them from that position there, being able to initiate those fights, really get anyone off guard or blind, and there you go. Steps out just in time for that reveal to hit, and breach connects those shots. It is just a crucial cleanup now, and clinically done by Next in Line.
Yeah, they look so darn comfortable here on this map, and I really don't know what to say. Control Esports aren't able to really put a word in edgeways. I think this is Next in Line's map, I want to say, because I think if I recall correctly, the team who picked defense for both of the first maps were those who weren't there. Good kill for MJT, finally putting an end to Zeko, but as far as I'm aware, that's just another chance for them to get an orb and get towards that ultimate again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said, the earlier you use your ult, the earlier you can get it back online. And especially when you're getting it in your 3rd round and you're 10-2, you do want to be getting this in. It can be a win condition. It's good in certain situations, even if you do have a rifle and you're not on that eco like we saw in the 3rd round. But even in the 3rd round, I said that was a win condition for them, and it didn't turn out to be. It was a lovely shot from, I believe it was Jaiko in Garage onto MJT, catching him completely off guard. Upgraded weapon then for Zico, and then he's just run away with it.
Yeah, I was confirmed that Next in Line did in fact pick Haven. So this is their map. We are expecting them to perform. Shot doesn't come out from Marky there. And again, Next in Line's entering on this map has been absolutely fantastic. They've not necessarily been playing those defaults as well. And because Control Esports are trying to look for a way to get an advantage early on this defense, it seems to be backfiring.
I don't think they've actually had a first blood at all in this. Maybe in the pistol round, but even then it was definitely traded out, maybe one for two at that point, because it always seems that Next in Line is the one in those more favourable positions in regards to manpower. But talking about manpower, it does seem that Control Esports are going for a little bit cheeky down short with Daki, taking a little bit of information, and there you go. Jaco on his lurk mid, catching Sid off guard, using that neural theft then. All the information's there.
Some good kills, honestly, coming in here for Control Esports, but with their positions all known, you know that Next in Line and Stempy are going to be able to get this spike down in pretty short order. MJT jumps out, but gets caught by all of the utility flooding their way. JKG actually gets the kill onto Rudy there, and is now 1 versus 1. And look at the health remaining on Stempy.
Yeah, health remaining, the shock that's going out, and look at that, the swing, the pre-fire into that position, and there we go, the first round on the board for Control Esports. A little bit shaky, but it's a round nonetheless.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a slip up there from Next in Line. They were looking at the situation, they're like, okay, we know where everyone is, let's just push into them, surely we'll win. But sometimes when you push into a player who could just put the spray down, it doesn't work out like that. You lose player after player after player, and they actually lost a lot making that fight happen. And when it comes down to it, you cannot disrespect the fact that Control has some fantastic individual players.
Yeah, absolutely. A lovely clutch from JKG on that. So over there, that reveal doing a lot for him. Noting where both two players are, getting that wall bang off onto the player, trying to, well, seek refuge in short. Then that drone, the Aldrin out, and all the information's there. But Control Esports, yes, winning that round, yes, have 1 or 2 rifles and an operator, but they're still not on the best of buys. We have a judge on Daki.
Okay, but a judge in Garage is like, that's pretty functional.
It's a bit scary.
It's terrifying. I don't want to move in there. Knives finally out for Marky here, and, well, who done it? He did it. He absolutely took out his opposite number. That's a nice frag to take away from Next in Line, especially when they've been relying on Zeko to absolutely pop off, honestly, in these last couple of rounds. Jaco tries to get something going, but as the smoke dissipates, Sid missteps again, unfortunately. A player I really was impressed with before has struggled so far in this map, but obviously it's early doors. They can still step up, and I do believe in them to do so, but it's now even Stevens between Control and Next in Line.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate with the timing of that smoke there. You could see it was cycling back in, but maybe that all Jaco needs on that cypher look, he was there ready and waiting for any sort of thread he could tug to unravel the defense of Control Esports. And, well, Sid seems to consistently, like you said, be the one that is that loose thread, especially towards this mid area in the mid to late round. And, well, 30 seconds left in the clock, and now the exit comes through.
Marky hiding in the smoke, using that cloud burst to good effect. Knows they have the knives, but turned away from the correct position. Next in Line just forced their way on through in spite of having to push into 4 players almost, well, 3 players almost on that site. They still just make it work. MJT takes a high ground position, dodges away from the drone, trying to make sure they don't get tagged or just about whiffs. But MJT knows they know where they are, and as a result, just saves that operator, wants to maybe find an exit frag.
Yeah, you got both of these players towards this A link. Now one towards CT, one towards B. But it's more, I don't know what they're in fact really doing wrong, except maybe getting those first picks away. I don't think they actually have had a first kill, except that one round that they did win was about it.
Yeah.
And looking at those percentages, if you want to be a stat person, it's not looking good, especially when you're talking about when you're working off of a disadvantage, maybe 20, 30 seconds into the round already. And you want to be having that advantage, especially on defense. This is an attacker-sided map. It's very easy to take sites like A, especially since, well, the nature of this map is massive. It's got 3 sites. It's going to be favoring the attackers, but they need to take some proactiveness in taking any sort of A long, maybe putting more pressure and help towards Marky with this operator towards A. He is going to be peeking short this round, which will be greeted possibly by a few players, seeing if he can get that pick, can get that opening for the side of Control Esports.
Has backup as well from this breach, and that could be a nice way to get that early advantage. JKG as well setting up with that dart. They get a shot, but they only unfortunately leg that player. That's going to be Rudy taking some damage there. And Control keep control Again, I hate the fact that I can't really use that word most of the time.
Well,
Keep
they are
command over this
controlling.
area.
They are controlling it, so the controller doing what they're good at, what they're named after, let's per se.
Yeah.
Control the game, I believe, is their hashtag for the organisation that has, well, helped them with this LAN as well. But looking at the players, we've left C-site completely open. It looks like they're ready to retake mid. Possibly from this position. They have 3 players towards this B bomb site with Daki in garage with this judge. The shorty on Jake, he's away. They have the same idea on the opposite sides of, well, these doors.
Yeah, they start to move out into a more comfortable position. I don't know if Zeko saw that cross there. Daki's going to be waiting in the smoke, is tagged by it. They now know they're going to spray through, but they whiff on all the shots, and as a result, Daki is still able to wait here, wants to try and find something, but Zeko was hot on their heels. Control Esports unable to make a dent again, and Marky is just not in a position to succeed here. Goes down, a 4K for Zeko, and next in line looks so darn good.
And they not only look good, they look commanding against the side of Control Esports, in which we've been singing their praises against teams like Inside that we have casted before. But look at Zeko, he's 15-4. He's only died 4 times, and as a duelist, that's pretty good, especially when you're 6-1 up and you're, well, 15-4.
Yeah, you're over 2 KPR. That's pretty insane and a pretty great way to kick things off. Zeko is looking insane right now in all of those duels and constantly keeps finding multi-kills.
Get out of my way.
Looking for a chance here. Zeko, again, on those knives. A player we definitely want to highlight for a reason. Position completely known, and that's going to prompt pretty quick rotates from Control Esports here. JKG looking for that information with that jump. But no one stepping forward too much. Next in line, looking to kind of solidify their position before they move forward. You can see what the spike is. It's still back in main.
Yeah, not committing to anything right now. Leaving the Cypher on the side of next in line to poke and prod around the mid setup of Control Esports. They're trying to get more first blood, which they seem very, very confident in and, well, consistent, really.
Yeah. I love that Jaiko's so aggressively playing around this angle, seems so confident in doing it, constantly winning those fights, and just willing to force out this utility around mid. Spike, however, is heading towards this A site now. They're ready and waiting for a chance to pounce. Rudy going to be smoked off of that one. The dark cover but clips the edge of them. MJT, you got to be more careful than that, buddy. And that is almost certainly looking like a chance, a go sign, if you ask me. They take down Daki in mid again. Yet again, it's Jaiko who finds that on the flank. Sure, you get a couple of frags back, but look how things are going. The spray through, absolutely everything. The rolling thunder from Sid. Can it land onto anything? Gives a chance, gets a frag, gets a second frag. That's exactly what we want to see from this initiator player. Finally, putting the question to next in line, can you fight us like this when we're the ones engaging the fight? The shot whiffs, but Stem just does not have the time to go for that. Taps too quick, doesn't even come out with a piece of sound. Gonna jump one out, will be able to potentially take down a player, uses the shorty, but does in fact lose a round.
But it's quite close, mind. This health on those 2 remaining players is very low, but we are going to be going into a tech wars. It does seem that the side of Control Esports are having some issues, but hopefully we'll get sorted as soon as possible for you guys. Because I don't know about you, but I really want to keep watching this game. It's looking absolutely amazing, and it's going to lead up for a banger of a match.
Yeah, it's insane to see them playing so darn well. The fact that they're just taking it to Control Esports, probably the team that I've been most impressed with so far this tournament. Next in line are really making a claim for themselves, staking themselves as potentially the best team in the tournament, obviously playing for that upper bracket spot in the grand finals.
Absolutely, and yeah, it's all to play for really here, so you definitely want to make sure there aren't any tech issues holding your team back, and well, they are going to be trying to sort that out now. But so far, what have you been seeing about them?
What I've been seeing is that next in line, honestly, are just fragging real hard. They've got some good calls for set plays, but there's not much more than kind of that as to the core of their gameplay at the current moment. Yeah. They might diversify a little bit, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And let Zeko and Jaiko, to a lesser extent, on that flank and on that lurk, really just press into Control Esports. They don't seem to have a good way to answer it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, talking about Jaiko there, I think that's the one consistency that we have seen. It doesn't matter about who's getting necessarily the first bloods towards the site and the first picks to get that entry. It's more of Jaiko's positioning in mid has been very crucial. Getting the position up, maybe towards Garage, towards B, depends if we're going for an A or C tendency for the side of the rest of the team. But when they're going up towards B, they get that alarm bot down. No instant pressure from the two players playing there because the cage is down, already up, and is, well, shielding his safety, but he just stays there. He stays in a cubby, stays hidden, backs off to a little bit of safety, but then as soon as anything happens towards the site, almost instantaneously, between 5 or 10 seconds later, that pick is there, and then your lurk is complete on that Cypher.
The fact that he's able to get that so consistently as well when the execute comes, it means they've got a lot of tools to kind of put that pressure down and force your opponents into making a bad decision, because either you don't deal with the flank or you have a reduced efficacy on the front half, and then, well, you lose that out there, because especially when you've got next in line fragging like they are, it's very hard to stop the pressure that they're able to put out.
Yeah, absolutely. But what's going to stop us right now is we're going to take a quick 5-minute break to try and sort out this tech issue, and we will be back with some great Valorant, and hopefully everyone's back on the A game, ready to compete for a spot in the grand finals. Hello, testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. Are we back? And we are back with the game. Let's get back into round 9.
Now, I'm a little bit worried about this for the side of next in line. The last time they had a pause, they didn't do so well against CTRL Esports after. Maybe, just maybe, they'll be able to circumvent that curse this time because they have been playing hot as can be. I'm definitely excited to see if Zeko can keep up that kind of pressure. And it's a relatively slow start.
Yeah, not wanting to go too aggro, especially after such a long break. Yes, they can jump around on the map, but you know, it's not really shooting back and playing like a team. So again, in that tech pause, then they aren't allowed to talk about these strats. They aren't allowed to theory craft against it. You're only allowed to talk about the tech issue and how to resolve it. So the admins have sorted that very nicely. But Control Esports popping that shrouded into the shadows. From the side of the Omen. Gaining a little bit of information, which is allowing this rotate now from Daki to get back onto site.
Yeah, almost got taken off the map as well. Flash goes in, Daki turns away from it, but there is the operator to back up. MJT was in the perfect spot right there to try and bring something to talk, but with Marky missing that shot, it's not exactly where they wanted to be. They at least managed to trade out, and Control Esports continue to put this pressure on, with MJT moving into position. JKG providing some backup, manages to tag up a little bit more. But it's up to Sid and the rest of them to try and get this going. I love the fact that Sid is going for this wraparound.
Yeah, he's going for this long positioning. He has to be aware of Zico backing up slightly. Back is still turned. He needs to take the timing now. It's got to be now. Sid needs to take some sort of beat to help his teammate, because it does seem it's all back down onto JKG's shoulders. That, well, Rolling Thunder is going to be almost sent out, but there you go, just in time. Sid got that timing there, and while JKG really shut down the possibility of a Rolling Thunder, rolling and steamrolling next in line to a 7th on the boards.
Yeah, really well played. That dart was in the nick of time. Also, it ate the entire ultimate. The ultimate is now no longer there for next in line. They don't have access to it anymore. That's kind of brutal. Instead, they lose the round. They find themselves on the back foot, at least in terms of that round. But their economy is still fine. They're still going to be able to buy up on most of these players. Zeko not close to that ultimate anymore. Unfortunately, used it not too long ago. So likely, yeah, they have dropped on over to Rudy. And they've got access to that Celestial Divide, and I think that's going to be a key point again. I always like to highlight it. It's fantastic at taking a site or retaking.
It's also a very pretty purple wall.
Very
but
pretty. That
very pretty purple wall, you cannot shoot through it, so it does have a lot of stopping power, especially to try and slow down, like you said, the retakes or, well, any peaks if they are using it to take the site in particular. There also is the Hunter's Fury from next in line. Interested to see if they are going to use it quite aggressively or saving it for some sort of post-plant positioning.
Yeah, Marky up on high. Rudy will peek out through the edge of this one, depends on whether they're looking up, but Marky turns away. No, rescopes in towards it, expecting a player to maybe come out the other side, but they're slow, they're patient, they're waiting on this one. Will Marky get caught here? I think that smoke is about to go down as well, so that could leave them wide open. There's a lot of players waiting on this angle, so they're playing as a duo rather than separated. No one is close to that rotate other than the fact they've got a little bit of that little bit of that backup from MJT here. And they're very slow. There comes the Hunter's Fury, manages to get hit by it. JKG just barely managed to dodge. They managed to take out Jaiko, though, as they come on in. However, you can see next in line pushing on forward, looking to contest. But it's great play from Control Esports that keep things at least to a minimum here, as they have to give up the site. Instead, looking for that retake with the Killjoy, with the lockdown, and even stopping Pika from getting that plant in. This is brutal.
Yeah, and look at that, the defender Killjoy. The lockdown's going to push these two players back, one to the far side of long, and look at that. Oh, the P coming out. Sid Yuta was just to, well, examine Rudy into the main, but Daki gets that flank kill, and look at that, 12 seconds left. There's not much available for Rudy unless he goes for this B plan, but Daki's positioning is sublime, and Rudy now down on the count is now they're going to be on the back foot next in line, something that we've seen while Control Esports way too familiar with. We've seen multiple buys over the Guardian on full buy rounds for the side of Control Esports, like Jan and I believe it was Daki have been suffering the brunt of it. They've been on shotguns, they've been on Guardians, but now hopefully they are going to be, look at that. Look how lovely and sublime that is. We have all full rifles, all full shields, all full utility. Finally, getting to see something more confident in the sort of buy that Control Esports are bringing into this.
Yeah, it's good to see for Control Esports that they can finally put this on board. And again, I would like to highlight something they did super well in the previous round. Usage of that timing, usage of that lurk. It's definitely a key part of their game plan and a key part of their style. And it makes them just so much scarier on those wraparounds, on those post plants. They're so willing to commit towards it. This time, Rudy is waiting and will likely be contested by Marky once this dark cover dissipates. You can see that push towards mid again, and there's the opening frag. That's exactly what they want, and they managed to get out scot-free.
Yeah, and definitely favouring Marky in that position and the angle, but it is going to be a BX that's coming out. The reveal, the blinds, the nano swarms, MJT's in the front of it all. The blind going out is going to blind two of the players, but the team, they're ready to back them up. It is going to be a 2v4. Well, all the information there on the positioning for the side of next in line.
Yeah, it is. They're all waiting outside, but Sid manages to take down one. With Zeko gone, that's a major player off the board. Not a lot of time, but a lot of bullets coming their way. Sid gets taken down, and next in line, they redouble their efforts.
And yeah, double the efforts and definitely putting a win to the half, whether it's by a 7-5 or an 8-4. Definitely going to be aiming for that 8-4, especially since looking at the buy from Control Esports. They're definitely going to have to take into account now what they can really string together and maybe shake up their positions. It's the last round of the half, last chance to really cement why their defense is how it is. We really need to see something more proactive from them.
We do need to see something a little bit more from them. I mean, Control Esports, they love to go for the aggressive play, and it can work out, but sometimes you just get opened up in that mid after you get that advantage, and I think they've been a little bit too slow on that. And when you try again for very similar styles of peaks, you're going to get punished like Marky just did.
Yeah, and this one especially, he has that play, so there's not really much wrong with putting that sort of play. You're not losing a rifle, losing, well, an actual weapon, only the ultimate ability, which is the last round, so that's okay. It is nice to see the Yuta combination that they did have, but next in line have read into it. They had that kind of like an anti-eco setup they had up there. They had two people holding towards that C-long position, ready for a fight from the side of Control.
Indeed. Sid, waiting in the wings here, could play spoiler to this push if they invest a lot towards it. That dart should give them away. Doesn't spot them, no, does spot them, spray through the smoke, finds some damage, but no kill. Back up from Daki, does mean at least they're not getting flanked here, but Daki does fall, and that C site is now wide open. Again, it's 2 versus 4, and it feels like Control Esports are always at a numbers disadvantage.
Absolutely, and it's definitely when you're losing that player right off the bat, but MJT getting one, not able to secure a second. The arrow, the reveal coming in from JKG, the shock darts, that's one. Can you get a second with it? The swing, the flick, and now it's a 1 versus 1. It's Zico, the hero we've seen for next in line, versus Jan on this save. The reveal initiator, the dink comes through with the Spectre, but it is not enough. We've seen, well, Zico, a masterclass so far in this half for the side of Next in Line.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, and really what was leading them to succeed here on this map. Sometimes I worry that you can't see individual players succeed so much on this map because they can get dragged around, especially if you're on the defense. But on the offense here, you can see what's happening. The flick was absolutely insane.
Disgusting. But we say Control Esports is an offensive-sided team, especially against Next in Line, which we've seen. Especially Rudy coming into his own as IGL here, and on the new role, he's been playing absolutely well. And Zico just shooting back is, I don't know really much what to say. He's been making that space, he's getting those kills, he's using his ultimate to the best of his ability, and really emphasizing and exaggerating any sort of gap Control Esports have, and rips it open for the rest of his team.
Yeah, it's a really big part of being a duelist is how you take that space, and I think Zico is probably doing it as one of the best players in the tournament right now, and I've been really enjoying watching him at work because he's been taking head after head after head, and I'm looking for more head hunting as we go on forward. Going to finally be setting on up for that retake here. He is next in line. They're going to invest a lot of that utility. The concussion does find, and oh my lord, almost get caught out. They do lose one, but it's only one. They've still got a lot there. The shots coming out from Marky as well as they spam down that choke. Some low health members on both sides, but next in line, they're sticking on it, but how much can they commit towards it? Zeko just wants to find those players. 23 HP to their name, trying to go away with that defuse. They're baiting on it yet again. Jaiko going to get spotted out if they stick on that one. The shots need to go through. They need to finish it off. They do indeed. 23 HP, but just one headshot will do this here. JKG needs to be sensible, needs to be patient, and does just that. Takes down Zeko at the very bitter end.
With the right click as well. Right click and a 3K to end that round. Like I said, they are an offensive-sided team, which, yes, there's got a lot to, a lot to the imagination for the side of the defense. It wasn't great from them, but also doesn't pull away from how well Next in Line have been taking the offensive. So I want to see if they can kind of bring that back into their own for this half. Yes, they're on the defensive, but you can take them space somewhere. Maybe not every round, but especially towards the side of A when they're going into the rifle round next. I want to see some sort of aggro positioning that they can actually fight for and hold.
What I want to see as well alongside that is a good way to deal with Zeko, because right now there's a lot of support going into Zeko to make him succeed as an entry fragger, and it feels like from that advantage, like I said earlier, always feels like Control Esports are playing at man disadvantage, and that could be a real problem. Stempy is in a cheeky position here, gets the shot but needs that second, unfortunately. However, a good couple of frags on the other side means it's not all too bad. They can damage on into Control and could still turn this.
Jigu running out like an absolute madman and is able to get this into a 1v1 low health, but Daki is going to be behind him and does check the walkthrough, and there we go. Daki with a 3K, but that is very close for a buy round, especially when they're only coming with classics. I think I saw jumping right click out of spawn then from Jaiko. Look at that. What? How can you read into that? That is just an absolute madman, confident in his team to follow up, or well, confident in his own ability to get the kill.
Yeah, it's kind of scary how much you can get out of those guns, and when you can really maximize that, that makes you a very terrifying Eco team. But obviously, Eco no more going to be upgrading on into those rifles, whereas Control, as you said before, because they took so much damage, they're not going to have so much. Marky's going to be over on that Phantom, but that's about it.
Yeah, it is going to be a bonus round, so really need to see Marky take an entry here, take some sort of initiative, getting more guns over to the side of his teammates on Control. But Next in Line just need to really wait back. They don't have to do anything. They're in the better position. They're on the defense, and it's going to be really hard for Control to find the space in their defense with a buy like this.
It certainly is. It's going to have to be dogpiling onto the site, I feel, or trying to really use that macro game effectively. That B site could certainly be something, but then the post plant, that's where the problems really start to settle in. You know, it looks like they've settled for this A site, at least for now. They've got a player covering the behind, and they've got likely some lineups to try and assist with this one as they set up that paranoia, and everybody else starts to move on in close quarters combat, but they completely deny that push. So well done, and even that singular rifle can't put a dent.
All right, lovely reveal from Pika to help his team, but MJT playing Matrix with Zico backside, and JKG picking up one for himself now. It's back in a 2v2 situation. They're going to be cycling these rifles through, hopefully for the team. The information's there for Rudy. JKG not taking too much commitment towards this fight as he waits for his teammate to cycle out these smokes to gain them a little bit more control towards the site.
MJT moving up aggressively, going to try and catch that player there, but Jaiko wins out the duel versus both of them. That's so unfortunate. just a little bit of time. If he turned that second before, it would have been a free kill. But instead, next in line, yet again, they show us what they can do.
Yeah, he looks away right at the second as he comes through the smoke. Not too sure if he thought that one might be coming short or anything like that, but it is another round in the way of next in line. You assume that would be the way you get the first two for the control, then you tend to lose the bonus, especially with, well, they had one rifle. They had 4 sheriffs, 1 rifle, basically going into that round. So getting it down to that, 2v2 situation, getting the plant down as well has been very good.
Yeah, honestly, I think there's a lot worse situations that Control can be in. They got a lot of damage through there in spite of having very little to work with. So I think it bodes well for them. Again, when they're the ones dictating the pace of the game, things look oh so good for them. And right now, I'm unsure as to whether next in line can properly stop them from doing that.
Yeah, next in line really needs to stop any sort of re-entrance from Control into this game. They are only 3 rounds differential, and well, that's not that much when you think about the grand scheme of things, especially when you're talking about economy. It can lead to, well, a rolling ball of a snowball effect really into the rounds.
Can indeed. When you're talking about snowball effects, that's certainly Zeko as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stepping up to the plate, and it feels like once he gets a first, a 4K is bound.
It does seem that once there's one on the board, you tend to see the kill feed full of the little jet picture and the word NIL Zeko. But this round, nothing too soon. There's only 50 seconds remaining in the clock, and no one has actually taken any contact other than sort of utility, clearing it out, walking up contact places. But these players have not seen each other, and, well, no one's died. And everyone's available and online. 30 seconds left in the round.
I think this is a very ineffective default, honestly. It's done very little. And as a result, when they're going to be going to this fight, they're basically just going to be hard forcing and rolling the dice here. Rudy will be able to try and get a spray through, but doesn't land anything. They're so close, but they don't have a lot of time to work with. They've got to push in effectively. Look at my Marky is. Marky steps up, and with JKG's backup, they do at least manage to put themselves onto the side. But where's that spike going? You can see trying to push forward. Stempy gets caught, however, as they try to round the corner, and the spike does go down. Look at Zeko trying to land it, but doesn't have a rifle to back that up.
Yes, the last Blaze-Storm goes out, hoping he'd get that shot onto the headshot to connect to the player, but unfortunately it does not, and then he's left with a classic in hand. Look at that, that's so unfortunate. But what's not unfortunate is Control Esports definitely coming more into their own. That was a lovely side exec, especially when we were talking about it's not a great default. They haven't done much pressure towards anyway. They've taken a little bit damage towards Zeka and Marky, having a little bit of a jet head-to-head over towards the start, and then went completely dead silent, and then just full exit out C. And it was read by next in line. There was 3 players ready on that site waiting.
Well, indeed. And the fact that they still didn't manage to turn it into anything is kind of brutal. Stempy tries to get away with a little bit of a cheeky push of their own, and Marky gives you no such answer. Just takes you down and allows the team to push straight on into the C site. They don't check for Rudy, and unfortunately, they lose a player as a result, but it's not the be-all, end-all. They're still able to get in. They're still able to get that spike down. And Control Esports, in spite of a small slip-up here, it is just Zeko versus the world. And normally, you know, I'd give Zeko a fighting chance, but only with that Sheriff, there's very few opportunities.
Absolutely, and look at it, it's Marky coming into his own now. Yes, they are against an eco, but frags are nonetheless, since you do need them to win the round. And look, it's Marky coming into his own now on this attacking side for the side of Control. And Zeko still have an amazing impact on the defense, but maybe not as much as we were expecting, similar to how he was on that attack. The operator now in his hands now, possibly going to be turning the tide for the side of next in line.
Yeah, possibly is. The operator definitely strong in Zeko's hands, but it might be easier said than done with a lot of the utility that's getting thrown their way. It'll be interesting to see how he plays around that and whether he gets the support as well that we've seen before from this next in-line squad, from Stem, from other people on the team, especially those initiators. Going to again look for this control in Garage.
Being able to take that tripwire out as well through that spam onto that box there. And well, you know, when you have that cipher there, yes, you can play quite far away from your setup, but it's still going to leave those gaps. Garage is now open for the taking, whether or not next in line have to dedicate players to watching it, to taking this angle, and Marky is away, but the dash, Rudy connects it mid-dash and is able to get out. The Rolling Thunder.
Rudy does eventually go down, but there it is. There's the, the Hunter's Fury. Does manage to finish them off. Sid is waiting in the wings, wants to look for a chance to try and get that shot down, try and get out of this one. But look at the shots coming through from Jaiko. Under so much pressure, they still deliver, and now it's just one. Now it's just JKG with 40 seconds versus 2. Needs to push up, needs to make sure they don't get spotted on that dart as well. So patience is key here if they want to take it over next in line.
Yeah, 30 seconds left on the clock. Aldrin available, only 15 on the recon, but he does not have the spike in hand. Shoulder peek from Pika is away. Izuri, both players are there, the double peek. The shock darts, he's so low. It's going to come down to being able to hit the craziest flick of his life, but no, JKG, it is going to be Pika coming out on top in that Sova-to-Sova battle.
Yeah, big mistakes here, not properly dealing with Rudy, and that dash was a bit unfortunate. They get caught out, and as a result, Control were kind of coming into that side push with a lot lacking there. I think they tried a little too hard to try and force that angle again, and well, this time, next in line, they were ready for it.
Yeah, I really do like the combination of util next in line also used. Yes, you had that Hunter's Fury being traded back and forth between JKG and Pika, both picking up one for themselves with it. But it's the fact that they were able to completely isolate those players with the double flash from, correct me if I'm wrong, Zempt? Is that how we say it?
It's Stempy, but it's
Stempy. We're going to Stemp, right, Stempy there was able to double flash through CT. Those players had nowhere to go, especially since you don't know where you're going, you're jumping into the walls like we saw MJT caught, well, lacking in the position where he was when he was getting that bomb down, or trying to get that bomb down, in which he was just isolated with a double flash, could not move, teammates couldn't support him, and then Pika with the Hunter's Fury came in from CT. So the combination of util from next in line has been really nice on these retakes. So I'm not too worried about how far back they are playing, especially towards the seaside, tending to play it more for a retake, get maybe one pick mid-round, and then play completely off-site, then get this fast retake in, which we've seen Control Esports do time and time again, but next in line seems to have a level up on them, especially on this map so far.
Yeah, so far, I mean, again, it's because they've just been able to leverage their fraggers so much better. I think
Absolutely.
Control have fraggers in every position, but they don't really play towards someone as effectively as next in line seem to do. And, you know, when your fraggers are fragging, you really are on a hot streak, and we've seen next in line go from great to lose a round because they can't do anything off the back of that. So it's interesting to see the kind of dichotomy here between having everyone been able to deliver or focusing your power around those points. And speaking around power around those points, Marky with those knives is definitely a threat to be reckoned with. Going to join up with the rest of the team rather than going for that single and split push on their own. And they're going to take that A site in pretty short order.
Yeah, he also has an operator in hand, so keen to see how this is going to, well, work out in the post plan possibly. But MJT now, with the Shrouded step up to the top, clearing out those interesting angles with a reveal from Pika. Sid, you're not planting in a safe space. And look at that, the fast retakes that I'm on about, absolutely, they're in the site. It's all down to Marky, and look at that. Stempy is there, ready to collect the last remaining player of Control.
That was absolutely brutal. Again, the fact that they managed to put so much utility in just that nick of time, and as you said, high pace, high octane retakes there, as they all just went, it's go time. The switch flicked, and instantly we just saw players. You can see it right there in the replay, just how quickly they died in sequence.
Absolutely, and it's definitely got to be some sort of play that they have. They have to have practice what utility, so they don't have to keep make a plan for this retake. It's just fast retake. Everyone knows their role, and everyone is firing on all 4 cylinders, especially on the retake. Zekro and Pika really being, well, the crux of it. Pika stopping that plant going down with that reveal is just absolutely clinical from them. Yeah,
I mean, the plant did go down, but taking the player away, meaning that they can't back off, that's the most important thing that you were kind of highlighting there. I mean, the A site is problematic sometimes for exactly that, right? You can get into position, but then you really can't do anything afterwards if you're isolated in that central area. The operator shot does go through, does take down Marky, but importantly does also fall. So Control are going to be able to get access to this site, and they're going to be able to go for that plant again. The Rolling Thunder really trying to deny that. They don't even want to let them get comfortable. They're giving them no chance to push on in here, and Pika even takes down Daggy. They try and jump forward, but it's the rest of next in line that lead this push on in and finish them on off. You can see that Sid is still alive, but while they have access to the spike, they're alone versus 3.
Yeah, look at that. That arrow then just really sealing the fate of Sid's positioning. Is going to have to back away, but only with a Spectre in hand, is going to be going to plant on this B bomb site. It's going to have to take a world of a way. He's going to have to move mountains and earth to clutch this round out for his team. The IGL is all on his shoulders.
I believe in Sid. I believe they can take this one here. Let's see if he can just hold this angle. The patience not there, unfortunately. Flash goes in to try and buy them some space, buy them some time. Doesn't know there's a player on top. Gets caught there by Stempy. And that will be match point now. Next in line looking to just lock it out.
Yeah, and definitely wanting to lock it out early in the first series that they've had against each other outside of groups, since this is going to be a best of 3. So, there's another map, another couple maps, possibly even ended up on Lotus if it does go to this 3rd map. But yeah, next in line on a match point.
Match point indeed, and I'm absolutely here for it. Hopefully the teams trade and we do get to go to that Lotus. It's been super exciting to potentially see that map come up on our screen. But I mean, with the way that Next in Line are playing, even moving to the next map, I don't know if it'll be enough for Control Esports to kind of shift gears and maybe take them down.
Yeah, we've seen towards the first half of the first couple of rounds of this half that it was all in the side of Control Esports. They had that pistol, they had then a couple of 2 rifle rounds that they strung together earlier on. But last few rounds have just been next in line, next in line, next in line. They haven't really given any room for breathing for the side of Control. They've really just asserted dominance on this map, and why is their map pick.
Have indeed. Cloudburst there buys a little bit of space and manages to trade back only in damage, not just kill. And as again, Control, they take access of this garage away, but then pushing out from there, that's the hard bit.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're committing to anything too soon. The bomb, the spike, still in the hands of Sid in window, ready to rotate, probably towards this A site after they've gotten that pressure mid. Destroys sort of the alarm, not the alarm, but sorry, the trips towards garage, which, well, they've gone in, they've given their presence, they've said hello, made sure they know that they are towards that area of the map. And look, there's the bomb walking towards A now with 44 seconds left on the round.
Left on the round, indeed. Now A site again looks to be the focus. Yeah, the spike's over towards there, just making sure on that mini map, as many as it is. Sid again.
30 seconds left.
Holding that spike, getting ready for the push. You see the util come on in. There's a push towards the C site as well. They rotate over towards it. They're using the timing very effectively here. You can already see they're rotating in. Marky gets traded. And as you say, 20 seconds. There's still players on here. You can see the dark cover coming on through, trying to deny them a chance to push. There's the Cosmic Divide. Really not giving them a chance to push on through is JKG spraying on through, spraying on down. And it's 2 versus 2 at the very bitter end here. They plant that B site. The entire thing was a bait, but Rudy delivers, trades 1 for 1, and now it's MJT, a player who's been struggling so far this map, up against Zeko, the player, the man of the hour. Can MJT show their former glory and take them down?
Only the Shrouded Step available for MJT is going to come down to the gunfight now. Still patiently waiting out this smoke. He's got plenty of time. He doesn't have to push this hard, but he's going to be checking his left angle. And look at that, MJT taking that timing very well, and well, breaking the momentum of next in line. That's another round for Control Esports.
JKG's positioning here and buying that little bit extra time to get that spike down was so brilliant. It was dirty. I can't believe he actually found that spray.
A double headshot with the frenzy while breach ulted. I've said this before. We've seen it from the side of Control when I think it was JK. No, it was Sid on Viper on Fracture. And I'm just like, if you're getting ulted, that should be, like, come on. If you're able to get triple kills on double headshot with a frenzy, with a breach ult, come on, Riot, please, can we buff this just a little bit?
I mean, again, sometimes you just have that good crosshair positioning.
Yeah,
I was struggling for the word. And it can lead you to those frags anyway. And, I mean, they weren't even looking at him. They weren't even paying attention. That's the real problem, is sometimes you just don't expect people to be there and you get caught out. And Control have certainly had that happen to them a couple of times here, a couple of times in previous maps as well. Sid, seeing that there's the tripwire there.
Over that.
I think they can, but if they don't, they completely give the game away. That's the problem.
Yeah, even if they do jump over it, I believe the sound calls might be heard by JK, especially with his positioning on
circle,
site. Yeah, but it is coming to, like, looking like it's going to be a fast A exec here. There we go, the blinds out the cage in. The first kill connected to JK, and now you got that neural theft, but traded straight back out. The neural theft now going to be cancelled.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get that spike down. You see 2 players in heaven here trying to use that dart, but this time not able to get anything out of it. Not able to get that spray down on the player getting the plant. That's exactly what Control Esports wanted to see here. You know, there's now a player in long. How can they deal with them? Pika are able to clear away some of the utility, or if anyone was there, but no, unfortunately, we'll just waste that piece of utility, making sure that they're safe here. Now, with the push forward, Zeko completely annihilates, brings out the knife, but gets caught themselves. The operator in hand, and Step tries to get the spray, but it's the classic once again that reigns supreme.
Yeah, absolutely. He's gotten two for himself in that position, and then, well, out of bullets, he has to resort to that classic and does secure the kill. Only now 2 rounds away from securing themselves OT in the first map of the series. There you go, that classic kill there. Well, it's a classic. It's a free gun. You have to have that as your sidearm, otherwise, well,
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, kids, switching to your pistol is faster than reloading. The old
Yeah,
adage.
yeah, definitely. There's no chance MJT, I don't think, would be able to get away with reloading there, or possibly his teammate would have swung. But either way, securing the kill for himself, making sure to put himself over double digits in this game so far.
Indeed. Jaco set up with the Marshal. No operators this time. Can't quite afford those, at least on the side of next in line. And the default, again, pushing out towards this garage. It seems to be a big focal point.
Yeah, definitely, especially when you have this Cypher playing towards A, you can gather a lot of information whether or not the Cypher setup's in garage. You'll expect him to be playing towards C, maybe B, but then that also says, okay, who's going to be on A if your Cypher is towards this half of the map, which means there's less Sentinel possibilities for the side of A, which is an easier site to take and one of the harder ones to retake, especially in, well, Haven.
Indeed, it really is. Definitely very problematic. Good dart here to try and find some information. JKG tries to scan the whole site, doesn't see anyone, they're hiding away. And you see those stars start to come on in Control Esports. Might reevaluate their decision here, and it might be ill-advised to try and push on into this as there's so much there. But they bide their time. They spend another 10, 15 seconds waiting for a chance to really swing out here.
Yeah, we're thinking of, they've taken this pause, but you're looking at the position on C with the Jet, you know they're not going to be there. The flat dash out peak again, one traded by Daki, but Stemby is right there to trade it back up, still holding the man advantage on the side of next in line, but numbers are dwindling.
Yeah, they need to get that spike down ASAP. Rotates are coming on in. Rudy from on high wants to try and land those shots and does so perfectly again. This is brutal. They need to pass straight away. They've got just enough time. No, comes off the spike. That's a big mistake, and now the win comes in for next in line. 13-10. They take their own map pick.
Yeah, and that's what we're expecting from these two teams. We won this competitive VALORANT, and that is what we're getting, but, well, it's definitely leaving a lot to desire from Control. We've said that we're more of an attacking team, but that does not shy away from the fact that Zico's just dropped 30.
Yeah, they absolutely did. Zico was on fire that map, and honestly, really looking like they might win that Jet MVP statue.
Yeah, and looking at the Jet MVP, he's had 7 first bloods himself, which is equal to that of the entire of Control. So when we were talking about they're not getting these first picks, then they're not really. They've had the same collective amount of first bloods as the duelists of the opposition team, which is something that we really want to see change, especially going into their map pick. Now, we want to see it's not even the initiative, just being able to take the first gunfights and take them in, well, your comfort zone, whether that is taking the initiative and pushing in, or just being ready for the push onto the site, which it doesn't seem Control are in the right headspace.
No, it doesn't indeed. Control struggling to get themselves started in the same way they would like going into that map, but obviously our next map is certainly going to be exciting, so you don't want to go anywhere. I was going to say maybe we'd go on a short break, but our producer isn't there.
Well, we can do a bit of waffle. Yeah, let's just talk. What is the next map?
Okay, I mean, if you want to talk the next map, we can, but we have an option to go to break. It's up to you. 10-minute break. Okay, we are going to break. Apologies for all the hoo-haing around. We are going to go to a short 10-minute break, so stick with us. We'll be right back with more VALORANT action.
She's the type of girl to treat a Tuesday night like a Friday. What's that in a cup? She don't really know, but it's working. High off these pills, 6-inch heels and attention. She might want the world, but she might need an intervention. Hey, I ain't really trying to judge you. Low-key, girl, I'm cheering for you. Now show 'em how to break the rules. So put on a little perfume. Tell your girls you're running late. Don't forget about your new shoes. You know the ones that work your legs. Ain't a man alive can stop you now. You're a highlight girl. Oh, oh, highlight girl. To you the game is easy. Live fast, die young, speak freely. Don't let them think you're needy. Don't fuck first night, ideally, no. Look at her go. Almost done crossing off your checklist. Pulling up slow. Presidential suite out in Vegas. Oh, oh, I ain't really trying to judge you. Yeah, low-key girl, I'm cheering for you. Now show 'em how to break the rules. So put on a little perfume. Tell your girls you're running late. Don't forget about your new shoes. You know the ones that work your legs. Ain't a man alive can stop you now. Highlight girl. Oh, highlight girl. Oh, you don't want a lifeline, no. You just want a white line. Yeah. You're only spending time if it's the time of your lifetime. Yeah. I bet you never seen a spotlight that you don't like. Yeah. So gonna show me why you the queen of the nightlife. Oh, you're my highlight girl. So put on a little perfume. Tell you girls you're running late. Don't forget about your new shoes. You know the ones that work your legs. Ain't a man alive can stop you now. Highlight girl. Highlight girl.
Despite the wall in my head, I said hello to you. You didn't notice my eyes. They were chasing yours all around the room. Chasing yours all around the room. I used to be in love with heartbreak, but now I need drugs to ease the pain. I used to wanna hide my love from you. I used to be in love with heartbreak and internal fires. Now those burning fires fuel my desire for you. Fuel my desire for you. Fuel my desire for you.
And we are back. It has taken us a little long, so hopefully in that break you will manage to get some food from that food truck, or if you're at home, put the kettle on, get a coffee, have some snacks in, ready to pull up to the second map over this series of Control versus Next in Line, where Next in Line is currently leading the charge, who've just secured their map on Haven.
Yeah, they looked really, really comfortable there, especially with some of the pop-off performances from players like Zeko and from the rest of the squad, including Pika, from stepping up and really delivering some pretty brutal death blows onto Control.
Yeah, and like you can see the map band just underneath here. It was their map pick, but now we're going into the territory, the home ground of Control. We've seen them take a dominating scoreline versus a team, well, the winners, well, the major team that we're looking for, sorry, not the winners, they're actually the losers. Yet. Not just yet, but it's definitely the favourite to win. That is what I was trying to say. But yes, Fracture was a playground. They went 10-6 against that team. They were even at a point where they were 12-7 up. And yes, they closed it out in the 13-11 fashion. Just had to give us a little bit of a heart attack going towards the end, whether we would be going to that third map possibility. Of course, we'd love to see a third map, especially in this series, if Control can close out their map pick.
Yeah, I would love to see that little bit more from them and hopefully get us to that Lotus. But, as we said, they do love giving us a heart attack. They love putting us in a position where it feels like we're going to get a game that's one-sided and then it falls apart. A lot of mistakes come in, and I felt like there were at least times in that previous map where we saw elements of that, and it was picked apart by Next in Line, especially when they were able to focus the sharp point, the spear tip of their team in Zeko forward into those angles. You had players like Pika and Stemp both using their utility effectively for Zeko on this jet.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, we're going into that agent select now. We know the comp that Control are going to be running. We're not going to be running that chamber comp that we did see a few games away. That did give us a bit of escape, but these comps are super similar. We're going to be trading out the smokes though. We have different smokes while adding in this Sky. So we got a Sky and an Astra versus that Viper and the Brim.
Yeah, I mean, again, I actually really like the double flash on this map, because you often have to find yourself, obviously, either being on the attacking side and having to take a site, or you have to be on the defending side and you often have to retake. You can't always just hold it down. And if you do, you've still got the Sentinels and other things for that. You can make individual plays. You can make your kind of dynamic action happen on the map. And that's why I really like it. I love the ability to kind of be able to set people up for it, and especially when you've got a player like Zeka. That's exactly what you want to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. You really need to be setting up your duelist in this position, whether it is Marky on that Raze or Zeko on that Jet. And with the time ticking down, and it now hits 0, we are going to be getting into the second map shortly.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have any more tech issues. We did have a couple last time, and well, we had one that led to a late lock-in before, so hopefully not having any of that here. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to, again, seeing Daki on this Cypher. I think they were fantastic on this. I don't think they necessarily had the numbers on this map, but they definitely had the information really set up for their team. And, I mean, yeah, I'm always happy to see Marky on that Raze as well. As much as he loves Jet, as much as he wants that Jet trophy for the MVP position, I do think that Raze is better.
Yeah, absolutely, and we did see Marky on that Raze with that utility, with the boom bots and also the paint shells, being able to clear out certain angles, especially when he's in that 1v8 situation. We've seen him ace on the second round before with just a classic to his name, beginning and ending it with a Vandal in hand. But let's see if they can exploit the mishaps possibly that Next in Line are surely to make. It's no team is without their faults, without any minor micro slip-ups there, but let's see if Control can take the narrative of this map into their into their playbook. We need to see what they can offer, and starting them on the attack here now is nice to see. This is where we see them thrive.
Yeah, and hopefully they come out swinging. They were a little bit lackluster at the start of the previous map. Let's see if they can manage to get some of those frags. Zeko looking for a frag himself. Doesn't manage to quite kill. Marky gets to spray and shows that a lot of bullets generally beat a couple. Pika does get that refrag, so it's not all bad. Next in Line will retreat towards it. You can see the backstab coming on in here. They need to look back towards that. That could be absolutely brutal. I think there's a tripwire there that they will have to shoot out. They will have to interact with. They go forward, and I think now the players know that they're going to get caught on the flank if things go wrong. Daki heads up on a high. They're going to be able to that spike down relatively soon once they get JKG properly on the site here. The smokes give them the space, but they do lose Sid for their troubles.
Yeah, look at this. You said about the players towards the north side of the map destroying that trip, but now they've taken that zipline and they're coming towards Southside. MJT is going to be the first. They're taking that flick, taking not the contact there, but then Rudy, what was that shot? The wall banged through his teammate's head, and it's just insane, especially in the first round of this map. Definitely hitting the ground running, and lovely fang, lovely change actually. And like I said, they were Northside, they broke the trip. Northside taking that zip, then catching the players of Control off by guards.
Yeah, I know for a fact that the reason Rudy stops at the end of this, you could see him just stop in place, is because he jumped up going, ah! Something along those lines. Love the energy, and you can hear it throughout the LAN hall. That's why I'm so glad we're back down here in the main LAN hall and getting all the vibes of everybody else around here, especially when you've got such great teams who really genuinely love the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And with a game like this, the stakes are high, and a lot of teams aren't going to be playing. A lot of teams at this point in the competition are down for the count. So we can see the crowds pooling behind some of these teams, and definitely hear the the shouting, the exasperation of the next in line team, their fans, and anyone watching behind.
Yeah, and they've definitely made some really exciting plays again. These guys have been very, very aggressive in a lot of the ways they push out. It's been great to see. Next in line now with that weapon advantage. But we all know what happens when a weapon advantage meets a sheriff.
Yeah, especially a sheriff from the side of Control Esports. They do seem to be one of the dangers of this team is their eco round possibilities. Whether or not they get the round, it's definitely very expensive for the enemy team. Let's see if they can bring that into this round. But Zico going to be getting the first kill. Rudy cleaning up again now towards Arcade, taking in a deep position in. Sade getting one for himself, but at the moment, it's all down to Jackie, sheriff in hand.
Zeko cleans on up, as we have come to expect now for next in line. But it's right back on towards Control Esports. Now with a rifle round coming their way. I mean, look again at this Spectre. Again, great usage of this Astra. And I was highlighting that I said I think Rudy is one of the better Astras in this tournament, and I think they're showing it there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like, it is a newer role towards them playing the smokes on this team. But I really do like the adaptation that they've made with the position on B. It was different to obviously their pistol, since they were taking that north side crunch there and had extended past to destroy that tripwire. But the way they were able to use that gravity well to secure those 2 kills has been nice.
Has been indeed. And again, we've talked about the gravity well, how it can pair well with so much utility. Utility is going to give Zeko a bit of forewarning on how this one's going to go. Tries to swing out wide, gets the damage, doesn't quite kill both of them. Finally full with the 3rd barrage there coming out from Zeko. A great setup and a great advantage already for next in line. And this was supposed to be a rifle round. This was supposed to be a round where Control Esports could really contest. And now it feels like they're already lacking.
Yeah, they're definitely lacking in numbers, and well, rifles now on the board for Control. It's looking deafening for how they're playing this is next in line. But there you go, Sid taking the first pick, the first answer back, but Peak are going to be spraying through that Cypher cage there. Low HP on a few of these players. Are they aware of the wraparound from MJT? The steps are going to be there, the molly's out, but Pika still avoiding, well, the consequential death of his positioning.
Yeah, Sid waiting in this corner. Position is known, but Rudy doesn't hit the shot. 1 versus 2, just needs to hit that head. Get any chance here. Not quite going to go down to the dog, unfortunately. But Pika will definitely set it up for it, yeah.
Absolutely. That dog does 30 damage on impact if it's a direct contact, but fortunately enough, you're going to be spared that from the side of Control. You're not going to be dying to that dog there. But look at the position that he was able to hold in that replay there. He's playing so, like, well with the left and right of that side. They're even getting that molly out. He was aware of the positioning of MJT behind, connecting that lovely shot and still being able to survive that round.
Yeah, I think a big thing to highlight on that is the fact that they were using the Spectre, which means you can't see those bullet traces even when you're getting sprayed through. So the fact that Pika could kind of just spray through that smoke with reckless abandon and no one really knew where he was able to dip, dodge, duck, and dive.
Oh,
that's what I was going for. I was going for the dodgeball reference, and managed to make their way out of that situation. So really well played by them, as you kind of highlighted. Now, for Control Esports, it's yet again back on that really, really bad eco.
Yeah, and especially for this team, we're expecting them to go up and arms blazing, but Marky's definitely going to be blazing some footsteps, taking Tempe off that with a few shots and that grenade there. Private Pit now again invested. Sid's positioning now is going to be so crucial for the side of Control. So making sure he's not going to get caught off guard and is able to keep this pit up to stop this retake.
Yeah, blazing like an old western right now. Zeko does manage to get one of those frags again, shows those knives. The Sheriffs are looking good, but not good enough to beat those Vandals. Unfortunately, Visigoths seem far too much for them, and Zeko finishes things off yet again. And next in line, they lose a couple of players. It's not the end of the world, but Control Esports just seems so shut out.
Yeah, absolutely. It does feel like they're all fighting their own demons, their own battles, and now that is a 4-0 up. The Viper's Pit was invested. Like, look at the positioning of Sid. He has no one helping him towards the back. Yes, he's trying to help his teammates, but then also there's no one really helping him there. Now we're back onto the rifles for both teams. This is another crucial round, but there's a lot left to wonder for Control. But next in line, amazing utility usage from Rudy like we've seen, and also Zico being able to capitalize off of it like we saw towards the A-main with that gravity well, and the triple kind of peak we saw from Zico. It did take 3 tries, but he did manage to get them low enough that on the 3rd it was a double kill in sweep. Yeah.
And again, showing that when you've got that utility, you can miss as much as you want if you, as long as you just play with your team. Aim is, I mean, it's not secondary. It's kind of just sitting there, at least tight with the team play.
Yeah, absolutely. That gravity well there does keep them in that positioning, but it doesn't matter about the positioning of the rounds previous. It is now where we're sitting towards this side. It's kind of nice to see how they've split up their team. They've got Daki on the Cypher towards the north side, and then everyone else going to be focusing on this main push. It's 4v2 if they are to take the site now, since you have got those 3 players towards A and towards the mid-center of the map.
Pulls back one of those stars, expecting this push to come on through here. Utility starts to get invested, and look at that flank, gets caught. Good play there. The Cosmic Divide, unfortunately for them, is not enough. Look at Marky, look at how aggressive Marky's getting. Manages to take down Stem, and they will be able to take this site. But Pika has a rolling thunder and is looking to roll these players off, but Sid was waiting in the wings and denies that push. It's just 1, and well, with a rocket launcher in hand, Marky's looking to make it 0.
Yeah, rocket launcher in hand. Not even going to expend that there. They're taking the corner. Now they're going to check the corner. Jaiko there, position 9. Now, the impossible task for him, so it seems the 1v4. Marky is low.
Yeah. He was low, but unfortunately for Jaiko, had the friends. The power of friendship. We're just talking about that.
Honestly, it's that meme that you see on Twitter all the time about the whole power of friendship when there's the flash come in, then you have just the 5 peak, and it's just a 1v5 and you just get, like, quintuple peaked. But it is nice to see that Control Esports, they're looking a little bit more like themselves. Lovely picks from Marky on the entry into that site there, as well as the utility usage that they comboed with the Breach and Raze. Lovely to displace Rudy out of that position in there and really capitalize off it.
Yeah, well done. But a couple of ultimates invested there from Marky and from Sid to try and make that happen, but not enough to really have anything going on into this next round. So I think Control Esports, while they've got that orbital strike, there's going to be rifles, there's going to be a lot coming their way, and there's a lot coming as well from next in line. They managed to force out, I believe, the Rolling Thunder and the Cosmic Divide, so it's not all bad. They will be down a little bit. That Tripwire, again, doing a lot and baiting out a lot. They give up the B site for it, but now they've got a lot of these flanks under control. I think next in line are very much setting up for that retake very effectively.
Yeah, but look at this. Look at the positioning that they have. They're going to be able to triple, well, retake this, but Sid aware of the possibility, and there goes Zempi with his buddy plan, able to take out that Viper for the side of Control. Now it's down to Yan. Yan on the JKG is the next in line to take down these players. Aware of Rudy's positioning, the camera is still up.
Well, indeed, so much utility going on to JKG here, but it's Daki who finds that frag. Zeko pushes out aggressively, wants to try and find that Cypher. The Cypher sits, waits, gives away their position, can't find their head. As JKG's gone down, that means this site is at least somewhat more open. With MJT waiting in the wings, it's not all bad. They have ways to shut this down, especially with Marky given that backup, given the assist to the rest of their team. They force them off. There's no way you're going to be able to get that diffuser. They push out. They force these players to lose at least one of their rifles here, and Zeko and the rest of the gang hit the hills.
But they're going to try and hit the hills, but they're also going to hit the spike. So there are the 2 guns down now, but it's 2 rounds on the boards. And they are going to be able to fall by this. It's going to force next in line onto this ecoy or more of a half bite. We see Rudy and Zeko having quite a fair few creds to spare and are going to be investing this rifle, this, well, hero vandal really into the hands of Zeko, a player whose name's been echoing through the mics, through the stream over this and last map already.
Yeah, again, a player to keep your eyes on because you just can't keep your eyes off of them.
No.
Fantastic play in kind of how they use space, in how they just seem to hit every shot as well. It's kind of crazy.
It does help.
Yeah, it really does. Orbs potentially going to be taken here if they don't find anything, but also keeping an eye on those flanks. And I love aggressive plays from defending sides to try and narrow down those opportunities. Because you now know that something's coming from this bot side, and you've got a camera as well checking on A side, so they know that this is going to be the B side. So you see already the rotates coming on in from the Cypher. Everybody knows what's happening here from next in line, so there's going to be a lot to deal with when Control Esports finally commits towards this.
Yeah, it is Sheriffs available, so hopefully the util for the side of JKG is going to prove difficult for them to deal with. But look at that, the entries now 2 onto site. It doesn't matter how many players you had towards this if you're not going to capitalize on it. They're not looking.
Oh, guys.
They aren't aware. There we go. There's 2 kills now for Rudy. That's 2 Sheriff shots. No one looking at him. The spike down, not planted. It's a 2v2. Still Sheriff in hand, but Marky luckily able to save that from, well, catastrophe with Rudy with the Sheriff in hand. We've seen him already this map. They are so unaware of the position in the tower.
Oh my lord. As well, the execution on those Sheriff shots, absolutely brilliant. Shout out to Rudy for just yeah, absolutely being crisp. Exactly that. Honestly, Control Esports, slipping up, not checking your corners. This team is really good, so it's sad to see them failing on these parts sometimes.
Well, they didn't completely fail. They did secure that
They won the round, yes, but come on.
We did say that they wouldn't expect such a stack towards it, and they had already killed 3, well, even 4 people on that side. Okay, he's probably going to be flanking. He's going to be rotating, especially since the Ash is the one that's normally starting towards this A bomb side. Like you can see, Rudy now up on dish. We have 3 players there holding it, and, well, nothing really happening. It looks, looking at the positions now that Control Esports are actually having, is so reactionary, especially in the first minute of the round. You're expecting them to start moving around the 15-second mark now on the minute. There we go. The blinds going out. They're going to be starting to retake into A main. But look at the position in Dish. Dish is so hard to retake A from unless you have that explosive power and possibly an ult, possibly to really push them off. And, well, that's exactly what Control are doing now.
Smoke's in the right place, so they managed to cut off the rest of next in line, and that Dish position is not able to be so impactful. This is really good. They're going to be able to get onto site. No one's really able to see anything because of that Viper wall. Control Esports, they know how to play effectively around this. JKG is going to be able to get this down. You see the util being invested, but they drop down to contest. They really don't want to let this spike go down, and JKG cannot commit to it just yet. Stemp is in a fantastic position to really deliver, but MJT finds the good shots, almost leads towards it, and JKG will get that plant finally here. And it looks like Control might just be evening up the scoreline. Stemp has something to say here. A good shot will take down that breach and leaves them with just 2 and an orbital bombardment as well to deal with. The spray through almost finds JKG, but they make it out of dodge.
And, well, that is an ult invested just for a repositioning, which is absolutely fine. That molly is still available onto the bomb. It's going to be at least 7 seconds now before he's going to be able to stick, yet alone even stick it to half. And, well, now both players are in main. 75 HP, 2 body shots is all it needs. Or if you're going for this headshot, look at that. There's no need for any of them to peek now. The time has been wasted. The shoulder peaks, the jiggle peaks, all expended, and even the brimstone orbital strike. But evens out the scoreline.
I want to hark back to something you were saying earlier about investing your ultimates and just making sure you're cycling through them effectively. There's still 4 rounds left and a half. Very possible to get another one. And I like the fact that they put in the Neural Theft and the Orbital Strike to just make sure they won that round, especially against a team like Next in Line. Again, we were talking about these talented players in STEM. He's not had a great game so far, I will admit, but I have a lot of respect for the guy. I think he's very solid and can lead this team to a win.
Especially on the initiator role, yes, you're expected to get some kills. Obviously, it's a general blanket of being in the team, but he's been doing really well with his utility usage, making that space for Rudy and Zico. My mind went blank.
How could you forget that name?
I can't, but it's because we've said it so much that it's just gone out. I've used my limit for that word for the day, but it does seem like we are going to be saying it a lot more, especially if this does go to 3 maps. But 4-4, Control Esports. very quiet on their map positioning now. They're going over towards this north side, looking like it's going to be a bit of an arcade split. And, well, they're choosing the right side, really. There's only two players towards this. Three players towards this. No Cypher to slow them down particularly.
Yeah, going to have to contest Zeko there. Sets it up well, has another flash to potentially try and get the catch, but look at Daki waiting in the wings there, able to provide assistance to their team. There were too many players, they're getting overwhelmed, and now you can see it's just that one player left in. Pika is completely separated from the rest of their team here, but still pushes through and says, I'm your Huckleberry, takes two, almost a third, but not quite able to land it. Zeko drop and almost gets another, but Daki hits that fourth and is desperately hunting for that fifth. Chaiko has left it to the ace, but unfortunately for Daki, it's his opposite number who takes him down.
Yeah, and well, it was all on the the Cypher v Cypher. It comes down to Daki already picking up 4 for himself in that round. Lovely shots, but it does seem that they just tend to be unaware of these late positionings, especially when it comes down to these solo players. And unfortunately for the side of Control Esports, Daki was not able to clutch that out for the ace, like you did mention. But Jaiko definitely stepping up on that Cypher role, getting those lurks in and unexpected positionings very well.
Indeed. I mean, shout out to Daki for making it that far, but when you've got so much coming your way and he's in a really comfortable position, it's hard to really flush him out. They tried to peek, but again, they did it separated, and well, it's a big problem.
Yeah, it is a big problem, but one that they still have multiple rounds left in this half to figure out, fix, and, well, really work their way through it. They need to sort out whatever's going wrong, figure it out themselves, what they're going to change for the rest of this half. But it does seem like they're favouring towards more of a split setup. Now we're having that Cypher, the more lurk setup coming towards the main side of it, and then you're going to get that split. Marky's already on site, planting up top, on top of the site.
Yeah, how in the heck did he get there? I was not watching for that one. Chaiko is waiting around this corner. Marky wants to make a bang as they have access to that rocket launcher with MJT delivering yet again. Fantastic on these initiators. It's going to be really brutal to try and deal with that one. Rocket goes late, buys a lot of time. Again, you hear that showstopper and you're like, okay, well, let's not step towards that one then.
Absolutely. It does seem like it's a bit of an alarming call, but Daki is going to be alarming in this peak. Sempi, shorty in hand, is going to be taking the peek out, and he gets it. Swapping for a Spectre, upgrading to the Vandal now. But it's a 3v2. Are they aware of the position? The sound there, Marky versus Sempi on this guy.
And they're having to go up, they're having to contest it that way. Good shots from JKG will do it. Meets them in the woods there, and Marky does manage to take him down 5-5, bringing things back to even. Now, talking about this scoreline very quickly while we've got a little bit of time. Is going for an even half, is that good for the defense?
Oh, I really want to say yes, but when we're looking at the setup, I feel like Nice and 9 are more defensive in regards to how they've been playing, especially when we've seen on Haven. They seem a lot more comfortable, a lot more fluid in the movements and rotations on their defense. So yes, the movements have been great, the fluidity of their rotates as well, but it does seem it's coming down to certain util fights and some gunfights that Control Esports are kind of like picking up a few rounds here. But I really do want to see a 7-5 half for next in line. I'd like to be confident going into the next half.
I think I really want to see next in line shots. This as much as I want to see Lotus. I've just been loving how they've been playing so far. JKG, does get another, but it's Zeko who opens things up. Again with this Bulldog, looks so confident, but wasn't expecting another player to be there. Why would there be 4? That's the question ringing through his mind right now. And as a result, there's only 4 players left on the map.
Yes, 4 players left on the map and no bomb in the hands of these players. Well, no longer. We do know where Zico started this round, as he did get a kill and upgraded to this Phantom. That camera there also going to give a little bit of information. I'll be interested to see how Control Esports go about playing this postman. They do have that Viper's Pit, but sometimes it can be worse for wear, especially when you're closing up so many lines of sight just for the bomb planners in a 2v1.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I don't think you want to invest it at all. I think that's giving Zeko more chance than you really want to. That's the player, takes him down, now knows where that last player is likely going to be coming. No, doesn't know where this Viper is.
He has
just setting up the lineup.
He has to have lineups, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
He's now coming back for it. Activates the smoke. I don't know if Zeko heard that. I don't know if Zeko's aware. I think Sid very sensibly.
There's no... He hasn't said
They're in
any
the air,
detail.
aren't they?
No, they're in his pocket.
Oh, they're in his pocket. What the heck?
He's now going to be trying to stick this to half, and there you go, the jump down. This could have gone horribly wrong if Zuko went for the mentality of pros don't fake. So we know Zuko is a little bit too scared of Sid then to... I thought he was going for lineups.
I thought he was as well.
He was running towards the zip line. I thought there was like lineups from there, and he was going to zip over to main after the lineups have been sent, blah, blah, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But no, it was very close. It could have been a very dire round for Control to lose, but it is picked up for them, and now they've secured at least half in, well, an equal half.
Yeah, the only lineup he cares about is lining up this next round, trying to get their team to that 7-5 advantage. I think Control Esports could absolutely do it. They have 3 ultimates to their name. I didn't quite see what next in line have in terms of weaponry. It doesn't look like it's exact. No, it looks like it's rifles, so they should be able to contest this. Walks on into the smoke, and would you believe it? We see spray down through smoke.
And we do get one traded back out here, so it isn't too much of a deficit in man count, but it is that breach off the board. That is the Rolling Thunder gone for the side of Control. No longer useful in this half, but it's still available for the side of next in line. Interested to see how they do this and how they deal with it, because you're moving as a pack of 2 towards the side of B. You have Daki on that Cypher towards A, not taking any contact, quite mirroring the positioning of the Cypher on the next in line. But the information all going to be there from the Seekers. 44 seconds left on the map. What can they do? What
can they do indeed? Looks like it's going to be that B site. You can already see players keeping their eye on it. You know, Stemp is definitely wary of it. Has access to that Rolling Thunder of their own. They can definitely play to try and deal with this. The orbital bombardment, making sure that that Heaven is caught. The flashes from Stemp is going to set up for this. Tries to get the spray, but Sid was waiting on the other side. The Neural Theft is going to come on through, so they're going to have a lot of information here. They do invest the Viper's Pit, but I don't know if that's going to hit the spike. No, it doesn't indeed. Instead, creating a zone where they really can't push into. So JKG slinks away on into that one. And that is a little bit of safety on this site for them. Pika's going to try and go for the flash and set their team on up. But the tripwires from Jaiko as well are continuing to constrict that movement. Jaiko does not know where people are on the other side and gets caught by Sid. It's now 2 versus 1, and this usage of the Viper's Pit was so darn good. It's going to go down now, but that's fine. It's done its job, and now Pika is left completely open and afraid, and absolutely should have been there. 7-5.
Oh, lovely round. Honestly, I aspire to have the exec ability of Control, especially in the positions where they are down on this mount can. We've said before that they are not the best team in getting these first picks, but they, especially on Fracture, when we saw against the team earlier, against Inside Gaming, they were very much down on the first bloods, but they did win the game, and, well, they're used to working off this back foot here. But when we're talking about the defense, it's a lot harder to work with for, especially on a map like Fracture. You have so many avenues into the site. They really need to get these first picks and hold on to them. Even if it's just one, even if it's just you get them number down to a 5v4, just back off. It's just not something that we're seeing a lot from them.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to know when you need to back off, so I don't blame them for it. Like, you've got to make that call on the fly, and it's easier said than done. I mean, obviously you look at it and like, oh, they could rotate away, but also they've already invested a lot into that site. Yeah. They likely have smokes already down. There's a lot of mitigating factors for that one. So a lot of decisions being made, and shout out to the IGLs for making pretty good decisions on the whole. But with Sid dead, that's the IGL gone. Sure, they can make information from above, but that nade as well, again, showing that power of the Rays almost makes it out, but Zeko, he knows how movement works, knows how to shut it down, and it's then just 2 for Control Esports.
Yeah, look at the position of Rudy up here. He knows the dish area should be clear based on the information Jaiko should be surveying to him with that camera. So it's a 2-pronged retake coming from CT and Sans, and it's not looking fruitful unless some of the side of next in line overpeak and make a mistake.
JKG trying to slip into a good position to make sure there's no one waiting up here in this dish area, but Zeko yet again delivers. This guy does not stop finding these frags.
No, and that is it. 1 round differential now. Should be picking up the next when they're getting these rifles, getting some Bulldogs and some SMGs on the board for them. And, well, Control are going to be a little bit worse for wear in regards to economy, getting these classics, maybe some armor on the side of Marky, maybe going for something crazy. Hopefully trying to just give a little bit of aggression back out to them. Yes, you're on the defense, but I really do I really do want to see control somewhere.
Yeah, I think you're right. You need to be able to make some kind of aggressive plays. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in this position where you're eventually just going to get checkmated by your opponent.
Yeah.
Because attack can really just make so many question marks on the map that you eventually have to answer to, or you find someone in your backline and you die instantly. Like, that's just the way it is. And I think the problem is if you're not making that aggressive play early, then when do you make it? You make it in the mid game, but then a lot of information and a lot of lines have already been drawn. You need to divvy up the map in your favor in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen Next in Line take so much control. They've walked from B main all the way under Arcade, so they know there's no possibility of anyone sneaking a little bit under that positioning, but Sid is going to be the one taking first contact here.
They're going to get that site pretty darn easy. In fact, Zeko is going to be the one to try and open things up, and I think very sensibly, Controller looking at this and going, okay, we don't contest this. We back off, we chill, and we wait for our chance to pounce here.
Yeah, and they're going to have to really capitalize on any sort of damage that they can make. They have, well, worse for wear weapons. We have Bulldogs, we have Vandal as well. We really need to use this util to catch these players off guard, in which they are prepping up to do for this retake.
Yeah, it gets caught by the tripwire there. That was kind of an inevitability. That's the Cypher bringing all their force to bear. The Bulldog in hand for Rudy looks absolutely fantastic. Finally gets caught, but likely at the cost of another player. Zeko does just that. MJT looking for a chance to find one of these players, but position is given away, and that's easily taken by Jaiko. And it's Even Stevens.
Even Stevens, and well, a very good bonus coming in from the side of Next in Line. Like you can see the weapons that they have available, and going to be good positioning going into the next few rounds. That economy is going to be building up. They should be able to, whether it's get the round or at least really pressure the economy of Control. They're all down to 0 credits, majority of them, or they're on half shields. So Next in Line, this is kind of like the little bit of a make or break round now for Control. You can send them back onto an eco, really hit the nail in the coffin, similar to how it was in the first half where it was a 4-0 start.
Yes, indeed. See if they can kind of maintain that pressure. I think that Control on this defense are going to be a lot more rigid, and especially on their gun rounds be a lot more threatening. But we will, as you say, see how that goes, because they've been known to slip up, but this does not look like that at all. The flash turns away from it, but still Stemmed gets it. Aggression looks good, and that's exactly what I want to see from Next in Line. I think that's how the way they look the best, but Pika oversteps their welcome, and as a result, it's just one, just Jaiko, doesn't even have the spike, and was caught in a very difficult and precarious place.
Yeah, very dire situation for the Cypher of Next in Line. Something that we rarely see him in. Stuck between a rock and 3 players of Control.
Control Esports. They finally pick up that rifle round in this half, which is good, but they've got another coming their way. That's where the test is really going to come. They've got access to some ultimates in the form of Daki with that neural theft. And honestly, I think in earlier rounds, this can be really good for a couple of reasons. It tells you what the position of players on the map are, and that can kind of give you a clue as to what your opponent's defaults and what their defending strats are like. So I actually really like this when you can get it early, and I think has a little bit of an added benefit there.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at this. Back into the A main Control. Next in Line really taking advantage of Control. Just giving them the space, having a bit of a Viper wall there just to ward off any unsuspecting. But Daki, a lovely shot. There we go. We got that one. We got that first blood. We're coming back now.
Well, indeed, but Zeko gets so aggressive there and leaves themselves alone. That's sometimes which can happen. Look, you can get assists from things like the breach, but sometimes it's not enough to get you there. And as a result, you see players like Daki happy to slip out of those positions, catch you off guard. And then again, it's just Jaiko versus players going, okay, well, what do I do here? Especially with the Viper's Bite coming that way.
And yeah, the bomb down in stand. Daki sitting on it like it's his prized possession. And well, there's only one place you can come from at that point, especially, well, given the circumstances. It's okay to spray through the smoke.
No, absolutely is. Shout out to Daki for this round. Absolutely brilliant performance. It kind of dealing with that entire kind of south section of A, it felt like, was just completely under lock and key.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something I really like from the Cypher pick. We have it on both sides, but with the way that they were playing their attack, they had Daki towards that north side, and when the rest of the pack was towards south, there was a lot more reactionary calls, which did seem to work a lot better for them. But now they're on the defense, he's going to be able to lock down certain areas so well, whether that's by information with the trips or just by having a body in that position, in which we've seen him get lovely first blood there and also back up his teammates once they started pushing through stand, trying to pressure Sid on site. And then we saw that rotating from JKG there on the brim, was able to, well, it's kind of like you're moving your pawns in chess. You have one protecting every other piece. You have Daki protecting Sid, Sid protecting those from drop, and then JKG then rotating around to protect Sid, not protect Sid, protect Daki from anyone walking behind him.
I think that highlights one of the things we talk about importantly about the team play and also the communication. The fact that you've got those pawns in position. You know, it seems easy when you put the pawn behind another, but that's not necessarily the safest structure to get an advantage and move forward. And to be able to do both of those things at the same time, again, highlights those IGLs we were talking about before. Brilliant for them. Shout out to the coaches for getting really good drills, really good practice in to allow them to have these kind of systems in place to really function. Yeah,
the fundamentals that we've seen from both teams have been absolutely amazing, and the fluidity, like I've said before, the fluidity of the rotates, especially on this map, are so important. It does look like they are going to be pressuring Dish. Sheriffs and Frenzies in the hand of those players up next in line. The information there from Sid. Playing a dangerous game, sitting under drop, wanting to take some of these first gunfights, secure some lead for their team.
I think it was almost revenge when Sid got a kill with their Vipers fight earlier, so those paint shells almost found them, but Chaiku really feeling themselves, getting aggressive with that.
Yeah, wanting to stick around maybe a little bit longer than Control want them to, poking some area, but they've taken the zip wire over now, and well, A-Site has been left. They have had a quick rotate over since it was only the Cypher spotted staying towards A. That tends to be your lick. That tends to be the play that you leave to their own devices, especially on a map like Fracture. But now the rotates are coming back over. Sid is ready in CT to help Marky try and slow down this push in some sorts.
Yeah, fight is good, and that means Sid can absolutely deny Zeko from being in this position. Good usage of the Cyber Cage there to cut off the angles, but still Control find their marks, and it looks like a next in line and not able to find a thing. They do get finally a kill, they do get the spike down, but all those players soon disappear.
And only player to disappear from the side of Control is Daki on that Cypher. Not too much lost for a round pickup, and they are the first to hit double digits. It's lovely to see this, and well, next in line are really putting up an amazing fight against it. It's a really two-sided affair here. It's back and forth with these rounds, with these kills as well. It's really nice to see.
It is, and partly because I'm excited for that Lotus map, which we might get to see later.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I am praying on the downfall of next in line in this map, and in the third map, because I just want to see the third map, right? And then when you see that, we'll be neutral again, right? Yeah. We can be neutral casters in the third map, but we really do want to see Lotus. I haven't had a chance to cast it yet as well, so that could be an interesting situation when we're talking about call-outs. But whether or not it is this game on Fracture that we're going to be concentrating on, it is Control in the lead so far.
Yeah, they're also just having another tech pause for that packet loss issue is recurring. Hopefully we'll get that sorted. I mean, they got it sorted before. It didn't take us too long on that one, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. Already see the admins moving. Shout out to our lovely admins for being brilliant with us this tournament. And, you know, some people might call them out for the seedings, but I would like to say that players contributed to those seedings so they can shut up. And also, you know, even so, the majority of them are correct. It just so happened that, well, these two teams we're seeing are the real upsets more than anything, and you could see how well they've played. You couldn't be blamed for thinking that, I mean, they deserve to be competing at this top level.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been doing so well. Now let's see, off the back of the tiny little pause there that we've had to sort out those technical issues, what next in line have in store with us. 4 ultimates up for grabs on their attacking round now.
Operator in hand for Marky definitely makes this defending round bit more punctual, as you might see this shot coming through. Tries to go for it, but just about doesn't hit it. The rocket launcher instead might land their shot, trying to use that projectile weapon to great effect. does get the damage, does take down Zeko, and already starts to rotate here. You see the Seekers coming on in, but they start to back on off instantly. As soon as that happens, they go for the conversion. You see a couple of players still sticking around, and that is making it hook, line, and sinker, but not everyone has rotated. Keep an eye on this Brimstone, as they're going to be the last line of defense, honestly, for here, but it's ring of roses as they go right back round.
Yeah, but it's not too much of an over to rotate now, but look at that. Daki with that Neural Theft is going to have the awareness there. Is he going to get out on top of this gunfight? He does. Rudy making sure those extra bullets just to make sure he is down for the count, but Jaiko there to trade, and also trading out Neural Thefts. The information is going to be there for both of these teams, but it is a 3v4, and well, dwindling health for the side of Next in Line.
Oh, the fact that they were ready and waiting for that, and that they got the rotate. That Neural Theft was so darn big. MJT denies, but Pickers landed these shots left, right, and center. But finally, JKG shuts them out, moves them to 11. But
So
oh lord, that
close.
was close.
So close from the side of Next in Line. Pika doing absolute God's work there in that 1v3, isolating every single one of those kills, getting that first pick. Lovely headshot, by the way. Second one isolating, swinging out to the left of that box. But it does come down to that last gunfight, and well, we've seen who comes out on top, and that is the player of Control. Look at that.
Oh, unfortunately not enough to quite finish it out, but
yeah.
but still very, very good. And it was those ultimates as well that really tipped the scales, even though we saw a great performance from Next in Line, that ult economy in the showstopper, and also, very importantly, not often you say that, but the Neural Theft being fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely love the trading of the Neural Thefts there, but also of the, the Cyphers trading each other. It was really nice to see, but look at the money. We have the Blaze Storm now for the side of Next in Line, so it's not too much of a shaky buy, but it's definitely not the best buy in the world.
It's not indeed, but Zeko does not care about buys, just cares about those knives. Already taken a player off, a lot of ultimates invested here, so even if Next in Line do win this, they're going to be down a little bit, but that's an if, because Sid is not happy, does not want to let them get away with that. And that orbital bombardment to try and deny the spike still gets planted, but they're forced out into the open. The flash comes through, and they swing through. Picker manages to make it out. It's up to Daki. Can they take these two players down? Swings out, almost gets Zeko, but it's not enough.
The timing over Daki going through that, well, the Cosmic Divide, the Astral Ultimate from the side of Next in Line was absolutely crucial for them to carry out that win. But it does still come down to that 1v1, not much time available, and in the heat of the moment, it is Zico, the man Next in Line can rely on to come up big in these rounds, and that's exactly where he did. He gets that first pick on Smarky, a lovely shot with the Blaze Storm, but then also closing it out in that round in the 1v1.
Now my question is, can they replicate that? Because as I said, they used 3 ultimates to try and make that round happen, and Next in Line this time we're moving into a lot more utility, a lot more waiting them. Look at the players who are on this site. JT wants to set up for this, but instead has to set up for their teammates. But Chaiko gets that first frag, takes down Mark. He knows there's going to be a player behind, so he's holding, waiting, and ready for it. But look at that from Daki, so aggressive. And there's the Neural Theft, gets caught a little bit by their own team's damage, but position's given up. They know where Stemp is now. They should be able to look for a chance to deny, but who's showing up again? It's Zeko, it's Pika, it's everybody else left on this Next in Line squad. That Molly is getting some damage on in, but the healing is there as well, as they're really trying to play for this one. Daki gives the backup, they try to go for that shot, they get the kill, and there is a half-health Zeko waiting here with a Vandal. Just one headshot, that's all it needs, that's all it takes, is holding this down. Daki's going to round the corner, has no util available to them, no nothing, but the shots are landing, and who better than Zeko?
And it's like we've mentioned him before, being that one you can rely on. It does seem that he has such a high percentage for these ranked clutches. Currently 19-13 for his team, and Daki unfortunately not able to clutch that one out there. It was a dire situation, putting that 1v2, and the repositioning from Zeko really nice into main. You could see Daki was caught a little bit unaware since there were so many angles to clear in that retake, since there was that opportunity to get into main, and just leaves that player guessing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between having a Sentinel and post plant when you're the attackers, or having a Sentinel and post plant when you're the defenders.
Absolutely.
And with so little utility as well, didn't have access to those cyber cages, no nothing. And as a result, just didn't have ways to kind of reduce those angles, to play the options game, and instead just had to take the duel, and I wouldn't want to take a duel against Zeko, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, now it forces Control onto a shifty buy. We have those Sheriffs in hand. Let's see if they can pull out a Thrifty around here.
Yeah, and see if it can be high noon for them.
That's an Overwatch reference.
Yeah, I'm allowed to make it.
Okay.
It's still, you know, it's still a Western, like a pew, 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 as they try to get a shot in there.
I see it.
Yeah.
But it is going to be, well, giving up, forfeited the side to them, letting them inculturate it from the side of the next in line, and it's going to be into this retake.
Planted.
Stem on a bit of a hunt, making sure there's no one underneath, and checking on this angle means that they can kind of focus their efforts towards this main, as they now know that's where every single person is coming from. The shot comes in, Daki looking to be there, Huckleberry, but instead falls. It's going to be the push through, but there's just so much utility there, and the spray from the Bulldog manages to deny, and there's just 3 players now with so little available to them in Control Esports. How do they make this work? MJT's going to sneak on through, but doesn't manage to find any heads, any chances, any opportunities. Rudy denies, and that is next in line, moving to double digits. They are breathing down their neck.
Yeah, breathing down the round gap now closing. Yes, it was Control first to get those double digits, but that was 3 rounds ago. It's now next in line's turn. They are the ones next in line to get to this. While scoreline only 1 now away from equaling it out and possibly even taking it to a map win in regulation. Both still available for these 2 teams. We haven't yet secured overtime, but Control Esports, the players there definitely are going to be feeling the pressure now as the economy is dwindling for them.
Hard push towards the A site, and it seems like next in line are just going to go for that one again. A lot of utility, a lot of availability in terms of these ultimates as well to make that happen. The Viper's Pit is here, but what can you really do with that? They're clearing out everything. They're doing their due diligence. These players on the back site are really going to struggle with Zeko contesting them. The Rolling Thunder comes on in, and it's going to make things so difficult. They whip on that, but Sid still dies. And that is, again, the gunplay of next in line off the back of this utility. It's so brutal.
Yeah, and look at that. That's 2 players down with not really much to say for it. Maybe a little bit of damage onto that Astra player, but it's going to be, well, going to cost an arm and a leg for the players of Control to get back into this game. Going to have to be wonders for these players.
Yes, indeed. Are they playing for overtime on this? Are they going to commit towards this? Are they going to save these rifles? I mean, it looks like they might have to. Marky tries to make his opportunity, but Jaiku, again, on this Cypher has been brilliant.
And look at the positioning of the economy. Yes, the pull is now coming in from Control. They're going to have to decide if they're playing for this overtime or if they're playing for the round win. Either of which, they're going to either have to forfeit this round, basically going in with little to no things, with maybe frenzy, sheriffs, low buy weapons, to make sure that they can win the next. But next in line, they're going to be absolutely fan-dabby daisy to buy throughout the rest of this half. There's only 2 rounds left, maximum for the side, well, for either side. Trying to secure overtime for the side of Control, or for next in line, trying to close it out in regulation.
Yeah. Control, I think, if they would be well advised to stick and play for overtime here. You look at their economy, they've not got enough to buy up to those rifles in their entirety. It's better to full-ass something rather than half-ass something. I think that's the way I would at least look at it. You're going to go for that overtime, and, well, they've had experience in overtime today and did yesterday as well, so hopefully they should be able to close that one out. But next in line, I mean, they're lacking a little bit on these ultimates. They've obviously got 1, but they're not going to be able to get too much as long as we don't feed, as long as they don't feed a lot of kills towards Jaiko or Pika or Stemp. There's not going to be access to that ultimate going into the next round.
Absolutely not. And look at the positionings now. We've seen a call come through after that pause is lifted. The players are now free to walk around. They are stacking 4 towards this A site, and it's only going to be Daki on that Cypher towards B. Next in line, all looking ready to pounce towards the site that they chose wrong.
Right there.
Unfortunate to see. That camera is going to spot them out, however. As soon as they heard it. They shoot out. That means the rotate could come on in. They stick around for a little time. They're going for that retake now. They don't think it's worth.
Left the site. They are 5 now over towards this B. With this position, I really do want to see them commit to a massive flank, whether that's sending 3 players south side and 1 maybe north. I just want to see more of a multi-pronged retake here. Like, it is an eco round for them, but they can still win it. We've seen them in the past with their abilities with these weapons, and especially if they catch next in line off guard, it can paint a very different story.
I think it's questionable as to whether they're even attempting this. And I think it's a good call for the reason that I was talking about before with these ultimates. If they die, they give away precious, precious ultimate points to their opponents. They don't lose that much for staying alive as well. They're going to have enough to buy. They just needed that little bit more. They are going to move towards it instead, which is fine. I thought that's what they were doing, and they completely switched to me while I was looking at you and, you know, trying to explain my thought process. But instead, they find a frag onto Rudy. With that Spectre, they can find opportunity, and we've seen what it can do. Daki wants to try and find the headshot as well. The flash doesn't hit, but Zeko certainly does.
And the flash now coming from Kamzempi, but JKG there with a frenzy to trade it out. Zeko, the man over next in line, and Jaco claiming a overtime pressure. This is it. They are a match point, series point to making it to the grand finals on stage tomorrow. And well, you can hear the screams. I don't know if it's coming up on stream, but we can definitely hear them. The crowd stood behind some of these players are going absolutely wild.
Yeah, they're not going to be stopped by something like this right now. They are feeling themselves, and they're just going to keep on pushing forward. They've got access to that ultimate, and they're very close to the neural theft as well, and to the knives for Zeko. Those are some things to keep an eye on because they are terrifying prospects. But obviously, still that access to the Showstopper and the Viper's Pit for control. They could lock this out. I'm surprised they're not investing that Viper's Pit aggressively. I would have really liked to see that, and they finally do here as they expect that push onto A.
Yeah, but it is not many people coming from that A main, and well, once they've gotten that orb, they've decided to back away. The pack moving as one, leaving that Cypher player towards the south side of the map. Catch up any stragglers, trying to get that lurk down like we've seen Marky do very well in the past, getting the flank down. But it does seem they're going to be re-hitting towards the side tech now as the count is coming down. Sid is going to have to be aware of both positionings now since it's going to be coming into a crunch.
Zeko gives the game up, and now it's go time. There's the Cosmic Divide. They really want to try and deny this, putting a lot of util on in here. The Showstopper barely doesn't kill Zeko there, but Sid slips away unnoticed into the smoke. Spots these players, but Sid falls, and there goes the ability. The clear will come on in at the back of this Marky. He hits the shots again and again, and that's 12-12 in spite of what looked like an opportunity for next in line. Control Esports, they keep themselves in it.
I think they're doing it for the plot.
Overtime.
Right, how many times have we seen Control Esports this close to not losing a map or possibly even winning it, and they just say, yeah, let's go to overtime. It's just better for the plot, right? That's like a kind of mentality they're going through. If it's good for the plot, the group chats, or the story, let's do it. If it's good for the stream as well, of course, we're loving such a close game. And now, going into the first round of overtime, are they going to be able to close it out in one lot, or is it going to be, well, we do have unlimited overtime, so we could end up at 21-20 or something silly like that, but hopefully one of these teams are going to prove to be the best. Either way, if it's Control Esports, we do get to see the map Lotus, which I do want to see.
Yeah.
Non-biased caster, sorry.
No, we're biased for more games. That's,
yes,
we're allowed to be
games.
biased for more games.
That's okay. We're not biased for the team, we're biased for the map, which is next. That's okay, right?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
But going into this round now, we do see next in line back on this defense. Somewhere we saw Control Esports thrive on this attacking, being able to get those early picks, which again, we've complimented them for the past and just really wanted more, but look at the positioning they have towards Arcade. This could be easily swiveled into a fast retake on the B side, which is where Control Esports are heading majority of their attentions now, with Daki wandering towards A.
It's interesting to see if this Viper wall makes them think that it's a fake, especially if Daki shoots out and does indeed shoot out that tripwire. Be interesting to see where those roams start to come on in. Marky caught as they tried to step forward, but the backup is there. However, backup is more there for Zeko, who takes them down, thwarts that push. And the concussions are more than enough. Look at that shot from Stamp. They're going to take this advantage all the way to the bank. JKG, last man standing, last 1 out of 5 to take on the 4 of next in line. Looking just for that chance, desperately.
They're not going to be giving it a flash. No one even peeks off it. Both flashes out now, and look at that, isolating that 1v1 against Zeko, but 3 players then ready to play off that contact, and they secure the first round of overtime. Again, putting Control Esports back on the back foot going into this. And another change with this, since it is in OT, every set of OT you do get that one timeout. So let's see if the coaches from both sides, yes, it was called by Control, but let's see what Next in Line also has to say. Let's see if it really shakes up the sort of attack approach that we've seen them do in the last few rounds, since, well, it was a lot of them chained together by the side of Control Esports to close, well, to stop their attack, to stop them winning in regulation and take it to overtime.
Yeah, I mean, it was great of them to nearly bring that back, but again, with their backs up against the wall, I think this tag time was obviously great, and I think we're probably going to see more of these if it keeps on going. I know that Control Esports are a big fan of that one, but at the same time, what are you really talking about? What are you asking for? I think it has to be that focus on clearing out some of those deeper positions. We see great usage of the nade from Marky, and I just want to see more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about the util. We've seen great work from Zemp with the dog, with the flashes, gathering up 11 assists for himself so far. Same goes with Pika with the double digits assist there. But I'm really looking towards the side of Next in Line, especially here, on what kind of approach are they going to have. Are we going to be going into a fast sort of util dumping to get onto the site, and whether it's going to be really aggressive, since we do have 5 of those players all in A main.
And they are just trampling through like a herd of elephants right now. You can hear them. They're going to go for it. Again, Zeko's going to move on in. He's getting caught there. He's completely blindsided, but somehow manages to get through and takes down JKG. What on earth was that? Getting hit by the trick, getting hit by the concuss, getting hit by absolutely everything. Daki can't even take them down, and Zeko again leads the squad forward. Next in line, I mean, finally, their next player makes it to the site. Zeko manhandling the opposing team. Control Esports don't seem to be able to get a working edge race. Finally get 2 frags, but that's it. Zeko with a 3K closes that one out. Next in line, they're going to the grand finals.
Next in Line have secured themselves the place on stage tomorrow morning. The place in front of the crowd, whether they have one stood behind them now, they are going to be feeling the pressure up on stage with the lights, the cameras and everything on them, all focused on them. The upper bracket run now 2-0 Control Esports, one of the teams that we talked about, looking so strong against a team like Insight, have really flipped us on the head and taken it 2-0. Securing themselves in that grand finals. It's not completely over for the side of Control. They are going to be going down to the lowest finals, that they will be playing another best of 3 later on today, securing either 3rd or then 2nd, possibly getting that place up into the grand finals to meet Next in Line again.
I would love to see that. What a great series, and what a performance as well from Next in Line. I mean, not a lot of people were believing in them. Again, the placing in the seeding was pretty low, but they've stepped up, they've shown up, and it shows again the depth of talent we have here at Epic Land, and the depth of these players cannot be underestimated. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of this, and, well, frankly, more of Zeko.
Absolutely, Zeko's definitely being named to watch. He dropped 30 in the first map, and now has just dropped 27 again. Averaging between 6 first bloods, I believe, across the 2 maps, 7 in the first, 5 in the second. But it isn't just a one-man show. You do have all that utility from the other teammates, the calling from Rudy, the flashes of Pika and Stem, and then Jaiko on that ever so constant lurk, which has been ever so fruitful. But I think that's it for us, and well, I've had a pleasure watching this game.
Yeah, it's been an absolute joy, and I mean, with such brilliant players and such a brilliant co-caster and brilliant producers and obviously observers as well, it's been absolutely fantastic. But I think that's at least as a duo, final cast. So thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for having me as well. It's been nice to step into the caster's shoes. Every once in a while, every epic I do have a little bit of an appearance, but for now, that is me done for tonight. Hopefully, we will have some casters back with you to take you through the lower finals. It will be Kyra and Haz again, the familiar faces. We're taking it in turns, okay? You have to have a little bit of us and a little bit of them, but for now, we'll be going into break, and Control Esports will be getting ready for those lower finals.
Feel me in the darkness. The shadows, they follow you like an accomplice. Lost all of your dreams, the night is heartless. My shadows, they follow you. My shadows, they follow you in the darkness. Shadows, they follow you like an accomplice. Lost all of your dreams, the night is heartless. My shadows, they follow you. My shadows, they follow you in the dark.